6 weeks out from the Texas Pro, we're here in the kitchen. It's morning. Today we're going to go through my meal one and hacks you might need to do to manage hunger for your fat loss phase or for contest prep, or pretty much what hacks maybe I'm not doing because food's relatively still pretty high. So know you guys like the food stuff, so I thought I would show a little bit more of one of my meal preps. And if you like more of these meal preps, let me know what meal you'd want to see down below. We can dive into it next week. But we're also going to cover just my normal updates of what's going on for being 6 weeks out. But let's jump into our meal one. All right, to start meal one, start with prep on my eggs. So I use, it happens to be an organic egg. That doesn't necessarily matter to me, but these are omega-3 eggs. So the chickens are fed a feed that's high in omega-3. So we get 225 milligrams per egg in omega-3, which if you're gonna pay more for eggs, these are the ones that I would do. Just having like a pasture raised egg doesn't necessarily mean the contents of the egg will be different nutritionally depending on what the chickens ate, or even some people just like get organic eggs or, you know, cage free and they're brown versus white. It just depends on the type of hen that it was. So it doesn't change the nutritional content. So I look for like omega-3 eggs, and luckily egg cost has come back down because these were like golden eggs for a little bit here. But anyway, I like soft boiled eggs in the morning. So I have this mini egg cooker that I've been using, and I can just set them in here and it just goes off when they're ready. Do need to poke like a little hole in them though, otherwise they crack. Oh my God, I just broke an egg. The golden eggs, and which sucks because we only had 4 left today, and I need 2 and Renee needs 2. So, oh my God, that'll be a dog egg, or I might just cook it on the pan. So right now I do get fats from my eggs. If I need to pull more fat out of the diet, which I'll go pretty low in fats to keep carbs up, I will go to egg whites, so it keeps volume there. Or if you have, some people have issues as you diet with egg white, and I'll just swap out for more chicken in this meal and just go with the meat. It would be a little bit more managing for hunger, over using something like whey in there. So those will be kind of the alternatives to swap out and keep fats low. But anyway, we just fill up this bit of water until it says soft. Then just pour this in and turn it on. And it'll beep off when it's ready to go. All right, other things for my meal one, while my eggs are going, I start prepping my veggies and chicken. And this meal, I make this stuff pretty quick. So I know like having a lot of food variety seems like it could be a challenge. It doesn't have to be. And so I'll get out frozen bags of spinach, asparagus, and you might have saw my last video, like I have pre-chopped bell pepper, green, red, and orange, and yellow in there, which we chop ourselves. But if you need something quick, like HEB, the grocery store by us, they have it pre-diced, which you're paying for it, but it's a convenience thing. So I'll do a total, which that bag of spinach is done for, of 100 grams of veggies with this meal. Which I don't know, in bodybuilding, a lot of people underdo the veggies in a way. Some people way overdo them on prep. Main thing is do track them and do lock in your veggie amounts, and don't let them creep up on prep, as you might have a hard time controlling your waist, or they're still count for calories. Some people, they don't track them, or I've seen people leave their clients like just say 100 grams of vegetables, which that are you doing 100 grams of corn, or are you doing 100 grams of spinach? Like that's a difference. And when calories get really low, this stuff matters. So put some frozen veggie in there, put my bell pepper in here. Then we're gonna do 110 grams of chicken. On the money. There's like one nugget of chicken left. So we made this the night before in the air fryer, just with some McCormick. So the chicken was the night before. We used to use this smokehouse maple seasoning on it. And it goes in the air fryer. We cut it into little nuggets, and that cooks for 15 minutes at 385. Done deal. So have it all in the bowl. I just throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes. It defrosts the veggies and heats up the chicken, and then I can just add in the next thing from there. All right, so while that's microwaving, I get out my fruit, which I do mango, papaya, strawberry blend. I was doing an orange, but with oranges, they're pretty high in carbohydrate for like one orange. And I'm not trying to pick apart just like half an orange for the day. So this has been a pretty easy sub in. Do 60 grams of this for fruit, which I like being able to have the variety. I think frozen fruits are great because you can, sometimes they're actually have greater nutritional content because they can be harvested at a different location where they might have, they're able to grow longer and not get picked early. Some of those fruits have to get picked early than if they are like not in season, and they might not be the best locally. So if you have like, local produce, then that could be ideal. Like right now here in Texas, like peaches, strawberries, watermelons, they're all in season. So those could be some great items to get locally. But other stuff like, man, hard to beat, like the convenience of frozen, but also if you need variety of fruit and more nutrient density in your diet, like picking up like a frozen bag is really ideal. Done on that bag too. So if you're dieting and your food's getting lower, mango and papaya, it's going to be higher in carbohydrate relatively. So I would start shifting more to your higher volume and fibrous fruits. And for one, like strawberries, for the volume you get, is very low carbohydrate. And that would be one like I've shifted some people to just mainly using. But for now, we've gone from oranges down to this fruit mix, which has a little bit of strawberry in it. The other thing I get ready too, well, before, which we're gonna have rice, I measure my rice, is I've been on a sourdough bread kick for a while now. So I still have enough carbohydrates and my hunger's not, I'm not ravenous to where I will do 2 slices of sourdough, which sourdough has a bit more fermentation process. So a lot of people digest it a lot easier than some of the other bread sources. But to be honest, I just like the taste of it. It just has a good flavor. So I weigh out my bread first, which is 80 grams. So I can pluck, because the bread's gonna vary in size, right? Like some mornings it's 70 grams. Usually 2 slices of bread is pretty close to 80 grams. So I'll weigh this out and I'll have the macros for my carbs programmed in. Then I can just adjust my rice for what I need, which usually it's been about 200 grams of rice with this meal. If as food gets lower with carbs, I will move this into more voluminous, fibrous carbs if needed, especially for like BMs, which we could go to oats in the morning. However, my just carbohydrate amount's been higher, so haven't need to make that shift yet. And this has been just digesting really well and keep my waist really small too. All right, I did record this, but then my mic died, so the audio is going to look a little different for you. I already measured this out, and I was talking while I did it, and I now have to redo it. So anyway, I have my rice that I made in my rice cooker. That was the day before, and just let it sit warming overnight. And the interesting with rice is that if you do let it cool down, refrigerate it, and then even heating it back up, it still forms more resistant starch, which resistant starch is a little bit more resistant to breaking down and absorbing. So you might have a little bit, if you're really sensitive, especially in the later stages of prep, to things not digesting optimally, you might see it cause a little bit more bloating or just delay in that process. So fresh rice is really ideal when possible, especially if you're at shows and you want, the best digestion possible and having foods assimilate very quickly. So mix this in. weighed out my bread, my fruits. So this is 200 grams of rice, and this will be 110 grams of carbs in the meal, which I know I'm on prep, so it's a good amount of food still. I'm not needing to shift the sources around yet. And I do add in 10 grams of Melinda's black truffle sauce, and then 5 grams of Cholula. And yes, I do weigh these out more so just to keep them consistent in prep. The thing here is that if you were really low calorie, some of these things are listed as 0 calorie, but you looked at the black truffle sauce, it does have like vegetable oil in it and a little bit of cane sugar. It says 0 calorie, but again, if you're using a lot of it and you're not measuring it, it's easy to get some small calorie contribution there. And if you're doing that at every single meal and allowing all these little things to add in, it can easily add up. If you're the bikini girl that's on 1,300 calories, to add in 100 calories could be very easy. And that then becomes like an 8% increase in calories. More so for my purposes is keeping sodium consistent and my water consistent. So I don't have fluid shifts throughout the day, and like you wake up, you're like, why am I heavier today? Or you're sending pics to coach, right? You're doing your check-ins, you're like, oh, they look softer. Like, why would that be? So this keeps one of those, the 2 variables, fluid and electrolytes, steady. So we have an easier time assessing the process, and also going into peak week, we'll know our sodium intake, we'll know our fluid amount. So that's already sorted out, and it's much easier to keep it consistent. Right, y'all can hang out while I peel my eggs. So, fun thing, Renee and I went and saw F1 last night with Brad Pitt in it, and that was a great movie. Really enjoyed it. The weekend before, we saw 28 Years Later. I'll be honest, that one just wasn't quite for me. I just think the storyline wasn't as great, and just the character development wasn't awesome. No one was really likable in it. So anyway, F1 was far better, and it was like car stuff, which I think they did a great job being able to show how much strategy goes into Formula One, and doing it in a way that no one would get bored. Like Renee could watch it and was still super entertained and learn all about how complicated it really is as a sport. And these guys are athletes, like for what they have to endure for like 60 laps of like 3-mile laps. So good movie. I'd recommend checking it out. Updates for the week. Progress has been really good. Like strength is held well across all the training session, which just gives clear indicator that muscle retention's there. And I moved at a pretty quick clip this week for fat loss, which I hit my goal of being below 248 this week. I was 247.6, and you know, we can show my posing video here, like conditions improving. You can see my lower back's been more, see more glute lines coming through. So everything that I do want to be seeing, which this past week I pulled down about 3 pounds, which comparing, like we showed some comparisons last week of the process of how I look back over time, and I do think there's probably another 10 pounds to go, 11 pounds. So I have 5 weeks left of fat loss, which falls on moving like 2 pounds a week. That should be very doable. So as far as changes go for the week, I don't think really much needs to happen. I pulled 3 pounds last week, and that should just continue. Also, my mom's coming to stay with me tonight and the next 2 days as well. So we are moving her Monday from independent living to memory care, and I found a company called Generations which does it all for you, all turnkey, right? So they'll come in, they'll pack her belongings. We've decided on what to go over there, other things to go to Goodwill, and stuff to pack to bring here to just keep, because her space is getting down from like 650 square feet to 400, so it's a lot less room over there, closet space and stuff. So we haven't told her yet, which is a tough one. So it's going to be kind of a hard couple days. A lot to do on prep as well. I still have to help with the move, but also emotionally, a lot to manage. It's going to be really hard for her. Her little dog, which is like her baby, and it gives her a focus on, can't stay in memory care because she's just not able to care for the dog at the same level anymore. So we're getting another dog, which Bella is her name, and she's kind of like, looks like a Shih Tzu Yorkie mix, and she's like 14 years old. So she's coming to stay with us. All right, that wraps up my meal one prep. Hopefully you got some yummy food tips out of this thing. This meal comes out to 65 grams of protein, 110 grams of carbs, and 17 grams of fat. Yes, on prep, likely this is going to be continuing to go down. Hopefully not. Anyway, like I said earlier, if there's a meal you want to see, maybe you saw from my past day of eating, let me know. I'll cover it and give you like kind of my breakdown of what I do for the meal. And I guess the last thing is just to give you the taste test of, and I chop up the hard-boiled egg, soft-boiled egg in here, and mix it all together. Delicious. If you're on prep, you know how good this could be with rice and eggs mixed together. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in, and I will talk to you next week.